of my obviously passions, because I know we share, is photography. I kind of wanted to start there. Um, what was like one of your earliest memories of like taking photos and getting into photography?
We had what is it, 45 millimeter, the
Okay.
flat cameras like that.
Yeah, yeah, I remember those, like the really skinny, weird ones. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it had the little flash on the
Yeah, the
side.
little that would pop up,
Yeah.
or
Okay.
yeah. We had just always had cameras
Uh-huh.
like that laying around, and I would just take so many photos that we couldn't get them all developed because it
Mhm.
it costs so much, you
Right.
know.
Yeah. Especially if you have a ton. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
That was my first memory of taking photos, and
Uh-huh. When you're
yeah.
little.
And then of course through the 2000s, everybody had a digital camera that we
Mhm.
would take every single night, so that was a
Yeah.
big thing. Um,
Yeah, and that became a lot cheaper. You didn't have to get them developed anymore. You just upload them, and
hmm
yeah, I remember getting into digital photography probably around that time too, and it's like, but there wasn't necessarily a good place. I mean, the internet was there, but it wasn't like it is now. It's like it wasn't as easy to share those back then. I feel like.
yeah, I remember having a photo bucket
Right.
that was just
Yeah.
full, completely
Mhm.
full of photos.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, that's something you've always been into, I guess, since you were little, right?
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
That's awesome. Um, and where did you grow up, actually? I don't know. I think I know the answer, but and yeah,
I,
you're not from here, right?
I'm not. I grew up in a small town in Pennsylvania
Okay.
along the Susquehanna River in
Mm,
that valley,
yeah.
and I also spent some time in Allentown, Pennsylvania, and Williamsport, Pennsylvania,
Hmm.
and then I moved to Oklahoma when I was 13.
Okay.
So I've been here over half my life
Right.
now.
So
Yeah,
yeah, you kind of feel like this is home for, not necessarily.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. And was that like growing up there? Did that have any influence on your like wanting to be a photographer, or was it like the anything about that place in particular?
Well, it's really pretty there.
Yeah.
There's a lot of woods and forest where I grew
Mhm.
up, and but I don't think it really had much influence on my photography. I
Yeah.
think once I moved here,
Oh,
I
really?
wanted to capture a lot here. It's so beautiful in
Mhm.
Pennsylvania, but here it's just I don't know. There's a quality to Oklahoma,
Uh-huh.
sort of the grit and the flatness of everything. I get.
Mm,
I don't
yeah.
know. It
Yeah,
just
I mean that's like the plains and all that. I mean, I think there's a lot of like really nice horizons.
yeah, nice horizons, and I don't know. I feel inspired in Oklahoma
Yeah.
more than I
Hmm.
ever felt in
Interesting.
Pennsylvania.
Yeah, I was curious about that. I've never been to Pennsylvania. I've never really been to the East Coast. Besides, I've been to Florida, like Orlando, and I've been to Chicago, and that's really as far as the Northeast I've been. So that's interesting. I've always wanted to go, because I know there's a lot of nice, kind of foliage, I guess.
Oh yeah,
I don't know.
yeah, it's gorgeous, and it
Yeah,
was definitely a culture shock when I moved here
really.
too. From because I moved from kind of a really good school, and I moved here to the south side of Oklahoma
Okay,
to go to
yeah.
a not so
Well,
good school. So
anywhere in Oklahoma is not the best for school, especially
yeah,
these days,
hmm
unfortunately. But so was it a small town? Is it like, did you move from this kind of a small town life to the big city life, or
and
is that?
I moved from a small town and
Yeah.
then to Allentown,
Okay, so that was.
but we were still kind of in the burbs.
Hmm.
And then Williamsport is also kind of like a small town, but it has a little bit more of a city flavor.
Yeah.
So yeah, I pretty much moved from a small town to
Hmm.
Oklahoma.
Right, Oklahoma City is fairly large. I mean, I grew up here, lived here my whole life, and being in the city my whole life, which I was curious if that had something to do with that um, photography or wanting to capture that aspect of like being in a big city comparatively.
Yeah, the being in the big city, being in the
Yeah.
big city.
Uh-huh.
It was I don't know. It just inspired me to see kind of the buildings
Mhm.
crumbling and
Right.
the
Yeah.
signs kind of fading out
Mhm.
and just that kind of texture to everything, and especially on the south side over there
Right. Yeah.
with all the colors and all the
Mhm.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think I get what you mean. 'Cause I definitely, I mean, like I said, I've been a photographer more so recently, like seriously in the past like 2 or 3 years, I guess. But even when in college, I took like digital photography classes and kind of studied it, and wanted to get into it a lot more. Maybe 15 years ago or so, but never really did until recently. But my point is like, I used to love to just go out and take photos of wherever downtown, just like you said, the building, kind of a street photography style. I
Mhm.
know that's something you're interested in.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, I get that kind of something about like these old buildings that are like, you know, falling apart and stuff like that. There's something there that's interesting to capture, I think.
It is because if you capture it, because next week it's not going
Right.
to look like that,
Hmm. Yeah, it's gonna continue to change
Mhm.
for
Yeah.
sure. That's awesome. So, what is your like? What's your favorite thing to photograph?
I do
Like,
like the street
mm,
photography, and some of my work has taken me out to kind of rural towns.
yeah,
I guess a little bit
yeah,
ironically, but some of
hmm,
that I just like old kind of buildings and
yeah. Kind of the old rusty cars,
yeah,
for
yeah.
sure. What do you think that is? Is it like, I don't know. For me, I feel like there's something about like the texture, I
Mhm.
think, especially with like rusted things, right?
Yeah, texture and color, and
Mm-hmm.
then that kind of background of the blue sky behind it.
Mm-hmm.
And then, yeah, you're just capturing a moment in time that, like I said, it'll change and it's not going to look like that when you drive by the next time.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just kind of a time capsule.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. I definitely feel like that. I'm obsessed with performance. Obviously, I was telling you, we do a lot of work with stand-up comedians, and I kind of got back into photography through Nick doing stand up comedy, and I was like, it was kind of for me a way to get out of the house and get back into the world after the pandemic kind of locked everyone away. So like he started doing shows, and I was like, well, let me bring my camera and start practicing. So I got better and better at taking photos of someone on stage, and I
Hmm.
think that there's something about that, like capturing that, especially an emotion or something on the performer's face, but it is like you said, the time capsule thing, which I think is very interesting with photography. Do you have any favorite locations that you've traveled or gotten to go and take photos?
Um, Not so much with that. I've done a little traveling with some of my video things,
Okay.
but I will say that I love Norman Music Festival
Yeah.
to capture the photos there,
Mhm.
um, and videos too.
Yeah.
Mostly, I like doing the indoor settings. I feel like you can get a lot of intimate kind of moments there, and it feels like almost like you're part of the band. And
Mhm.
then also the stage behind the obelisk, because they have several outdoor
Yeah.
stages. So I like that stage too to photograph.
Mhm. Yeah, there's something about that, and especially the lighting and things like that of a stage. And you get like different colors and things like that.
And I've got to know some of the lighting technicians too, and
Okay.
they're kind of we kind of geek out together over the
Yeah.
photos because it's kind of a
Mhm.
joint effort. So yeah, it's fun.
That's awesome. Did you ever like do you use any like flashes, or do you use? Because one of my questions, next questions, weirdly enough, is what kind of equipment do you use? But my question is, do you use like flash photography at all? Or have
Um,
you experimented with that?
when I first started doing photography, I didn't really know what I was doing
Yeah.
technically, so I was just kind of jamming the dials and
Mhm.
stuff. And I was using a flash then, and I
Mhm.
remember getting in trouble for it. Somebody
Yeah.
yelled at me,
You
and it
have to be
wasn't anybody
careful.
on stage; it was another photographer.
Oh
So
yeah.
it kind of
Huh.
deterred me from wanting to do live music photography
Right.
for a while. So I kind of did. I quit,
Mhm.
and now I have learned to shoot in low light settings without a
Mhm.
flash.
Right.
I use a Panasonic GH5, but I have I just bought a flash, and I do that
Mhm.
with some of my real estate photography. I
Yeah.
use it for that.
Mhm.
So I want to bring it back.
Yeah.
I know a lot of venues you can't shoot with flash, but
Yeah. Certain.
I think maybe a couple times I might try to bring it out.
Yeah.
I know other photographers that do use flash a lot on stage in
For
venues. Yeah.
performance, because it's difficult. I mean, I know I don't actually shoot with flash hardly at all, like unless it's a portrait setting. And in that case, I have these like the umbrella, reflectors and things like that.
Right.
So like that's a little bit different. But yeah, I don't really know how to use a flash in that setting either. So I just haven't practiced it either.
Mhm.
It's interesting though because. And it's funny that you said like another photographer told you not to use a flash,
Mhm.
because I think that a lot of photographers will say that, but I don't necessarily think that you shouldn't either. I don't think they should say that at all.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I think it's something to experiment with, and because you can use it for live performance and get really great photos.
Mhm.
One technique I've heard about or read about online. I haven't never gotten to try it with, but in particular with live music is like having like remote triggers, and have like several flashes. And then what the kind of trick is that like I said, I really want to try it one day, um, is to set up flashes on like stands or wherever, like away from your camera, in different
Mhm.
places on the stage, and you can put like gels, like colored gels on them, and then whenever you take a photo, it'll trigger the flashes, and you can get some really, really amazing shots like that, or from what I've seen. But it's like just different ways to kind of experiment with that stuff.
Absolutely.
So kind of staying on the kind of technical side. I mean, this might get a little. I like getting, because, like I said, I am fascinated with this stuff. So hopefully, other people are. If you're a photographer, you might find this interesting, regardless. But do you edit your photos? I'm always curious about like how much editing different photographers do. What do you do there?
It just depends on what I'm shooting. I
Yeah.
think sometimes it's really fun to do some just off the wall edits.
Yeah.
And then other times it depends if I'm shooting like a meet and greet or something for a concert.
Hmm.
I won't really I'll just lightly edit
Yeah.
those with making sure the white balance is good
Hmm.
and the contrast is good, that kind of thing. Just barely
Yeah.
touching them.
Right.
But other times it's fun to throw a big like
Hmm.
vignette on there
Yeah.
and some dial the colors a little bit and have some fun.
Hmm.
It just depends on what I'm doing.
So yeah, have you ever done like weddings or event photography? Because that's something that I love. Event photography, weddings, I feel like is like another way that photographers just make money. It's, you know what I
Mhm.
mean? There's a lot of money there. Is that something that interests you at all?
I haven't done any weddings. I heard that they're a little
Yeah.
bit the clients can be a little bit
Right.
picky.
Hmm.
I have done an elopement,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
I think those turned out okay.
Hmm.
It was downtown,
Yeah.
um, and that was fun because it was casual. But and then event photography, I've done a couple of
Yeah.
events.
You had mentioned like the meet and greet type stuff.
Oh yeah, so they have started a new um, a concert series at Thunderbird Casino out in
Okay.
Norman. So I got to go out there and shoot the Josh Abbott band and
Hmm.
Rowdy Shay, and then we did the meet and greet, and then Rowdy Shay had another club show inside the casino, and I shot that. That was fun because there
Hmm.
were empty beer bottles all over the
Yeah.
place and ashtrays and just
Cool.
cool,
Yeah.
like
Like
yeah.
setting
Mhm.
dressing, I guess, or set dressing. I think of like in film terms.
Mhm. That
But
was
yeah,
fun.
but it's like kind of cool background stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I guess because like I said, I love event photography, but then I don't necessarily, like you said, with the wedding stuff. I don't. I mean, I've done them. I've done some small
Mhm.
things, but it's like I was trying to get into that a little bit, but I don't think that I'd want to actually. Especially doing it a little more and more. It's like I don't know if this is for me. Especially the big weddings. Like that's a lot of work. Like
Yeah, and you have to be comfortable directing
yeah.
crowds and people that you've
Hmm.
never met before,
Right.
and you
Yeah.
don't really know who's who, and
Yeah.
so
It's tough.
yeah.